So, but picture this: so you have active duty military folks getting PCS,
Yeah.
right? And it's your E5s, E6s, O2s, O3s. Got families, young families, and stuff. They don't have assets to be putting down money on houses. All they have is a benefit that they earned. And when they go into these marketplaces to try to buy a house for their family, they're subjected to this scenario, which makes it extremely difficult for them to actually buy a house, and they're forced to rent. And we all know how base housing is, and renting is most of the time substandard living.
We see that in New England a lot. So I'm just north of Boston, very expensive area, low inventory, big homes. The Boston market is very much like the Seattle market. I mean, it's just very expensive properties out there. And, we have a couple bases, they're not huge, but you got a veteran, you got an active duty personnel, PCS and let's say to a Coast Guard duty station, Boston, and they're an E4, a petty officer, whatnot. And their actual moving costs have been picked up by the Coast Guard, right? So they come to Boston and they have the funds to buy this $395,000 home that's going to be perfect for the family. And the listing agent goes, well, we need $20,000 deposit. I'm like, what? I'm like, they don't have that. Well, then it's not going to be a good deal then. How can you say it's not a good offer because the deposit money is, well, they're going to walk away. Well, everything's relative. They've given you $1,000 of the money. That's all they really have. So in the world of home ownership and VA home buying, it's you have to talk about relativity, right? So we give a deposit to secure the property, and that's a lot of money for some people, 5%, 10%.
Yeah.
That veteran who's given everything that's in their checking and savings account, which is $1,500, that's everything. So that's the incentive to not walk away, because the deposit on a purchase transaction is the incentive to not walk away. So these agents sometimes, these listing agents, these sellers, they have this preconceived notion that, well, they have to have 5% to put down on a $400,000 house. And I'm like, they don't have it. And that's where we run in Boston and New England. That's where we run into this kind of conundrum where they just start to say, nope, we're not going to accept your VA offer.
But, I didn't put anything down for my first home and my second one.
On your deposit. You didn't put anything down. Yeah, just bought it, right?
Bought it.
Yeah.
I went in there and that was one of the, incentives of the VA loan that I could do. And, here's the thing. Like, the government is guaranteeing you that we're going to pay this loan.
Yeah.
Right? That's the whole point, right?
Yeah.
So that's to me, it's even more powerful than someone putting, 5% or 10% earnest money, whatever you would call it, down. It sounds like, there's just, folks are, maybe it's just judging, right? It's just kind of saying like, well, I'd rather get that money right up front and then, deal with this group, or, and these guys, if they have only $1,500, how am I guaranteed they're going to go through it with it? No, but that's because it's a misunderstanding of what the VA loan is.
That's crazy.
It's, there's a process behind it. That's that $1,500. Don't worry about $1,500. You're going to get your full money, as a seller.
Mm-hmm. So
I don't know, man. It sounds like some people have, there is misunderstanding. I know for a fact, because I know there's some real estate folks that I've not worked with that truly weren't too familiar with the VA process.
Sure.
And obviously, when I was doing my interviewing piece, that's one of the main questions, because there was no other way that I was going to buy my home, my first home, without a VA loan.
Sure.
It would have been renting or nothing. I mean, So, and I think one of them actually, in the other episode we did, was not as knowledgeable in the VA loan, and I felt a little bit uncomfortable with that.
Right.
He's like, oh, let me read up on this, and let me get back to you. No.
You're like, you know what?
Yeah. Sounds good. Go read up on it.
Yeah,
It's going to help you with someone else.
I actually worked with a Marine back in Danvers, Massachusetts, and he went to a lender to get his VA loan, and the loan officer was like, I'll call you right back. I got to look into the guidelines. And my buddy was like, what do you mean guidelines? He's like, I got to look into the guidelines to figure out how to do this VA loan.
Sure.
That should just be right away a ring, ring, ring.
You know what it was though? I remember now. One of the main things because I didn't ask my second, with Caliber Home Loans, and the second time I bought a place, I asked about VA and this and that, and he was very honest. He said, one of the things is it's a little bit, they're very, they want to be accurate. The appraisal apparently will scare some folks. Sure. But guess what? In that case though, I probably don't want that house or that condo, because if you're scared of the appraisal, them doing the job they're supposed to do, right? Like the home inspections too. Like, if are you trying to hide something?
Yeah.
You know,